This should be played at high volume, preferably in a residential area.
It's the Dirty Laundry Game-Worn Hockey Podcast.
We're old school, right? We wash our own dirty laundry.
The name on the front is a hell of a lot more important than the one on the back.
I refuse to be judged by a grown man wearing a hockey jersey.
Game on!
Game on!
We are back with another episode of the Dirty Laundry Game-Worn Hockey Podcast, episode number 68. Lots of good stuff to cover tonight. We have Paul and Wade here. So welcome, gentlemen. It's been another fun week. The shows just keep on rolling. We actually, and I'll just tell everybody now, I'm traveling as of Saturday and we'll be gone for a week, but we already did a show. It is set up to launch next Thursday. We had two awesome guests, long discussion. So hopefully everybody enjoys that. So even when schedules are screwed up, we are going to make sure or do the best of our ability to still have a show for you every week. Again, going back to Wade's Expo, we don't want anybody crying because there was not a show and we didn't tell anybody. If there is not going to be a show, we promise to tell you ahead of time. But even with Thanksgiving on Thursday, we were talking before we started recording about scheduling that week and getting one done. So we love you guys enough and want to make sure we put out good content and good shows every week. And if they suck, tell us that too, please. So we did have a lot of good comments on the stories from the East Coast Hockey League and that. A lot of non-collectors even commenting on that, so we appreciate that. Some of the things, first, of course, we have to thank, as always, Mitch and the Drink Your Face Off line of sportswear, puck bottle openers, T-shirts, sweatshirts, the whole bitch. And a little bit different this evening. This does not look like a bourbon drink. However, it is. It is a little cold here in Central Illinois. I had to be outside a bit today and some other things. So I'm a tad chilly and it's been raining. So this is hot chocolate with some bourbon cream in it. Jim Beam bourbon cream. So yes, it's not an old fashioned for once, but it still has bourbon in it. So cheers, everybody. Yeah. So even regardless of the weather, there will be some kind of alcohol drank during this show. I promise you. Getting into auctions, just a handful really around the league. Two of them end the same day in 4 days, or three if you're listening to this on Friday. The Buffalo Sabres military jerseys are up on NHL auctions. They close November the 18th. The Oilers Hall of Fame night jerseys also close on the 18th. We've talked about both of those before. We've got a bit yet in the classic auctions. A lot of good stuff out there. A few that I'm just kind of keep an eye on just to see what they do. Of course, as far as Blues stuff, as always, those close December the 3rd. My Gray has a couple. We've talked about the Seattle Gear one and the goalie shutout auction. They do now have a Connor McDavid equipment auction that goes till December the 5th. So those are the auction stuff.
The Blues have their auction for military closing tonight, actually.
Yeah, so by the time everybody hears it, other than us,
I was at the game on Tuesday and was lucky enough through our friends with the Blues to get my hands on one of the warm-up jerseys that were issued to the players, and there was a code change on that as well. For the Blues, it was 04Q6 was the code that was in that. So it's different than the game ones. It's different than the retail stuff we've seen. So when those auctions do close in the next little bit for the other military jerseys, I would love for people to send either Doc, myself, or Paul those codes as we are tracking them. I did find it interesting that code was different in there, which was great. So that's another addition. Plus, I think we've gotten some more additions to our list. So the coding seems to be going in the way that we've thought it was going. So.
Yes, for both gamers and the pro authentics, they're lining up exactly what we previously thought. So that continues to track, and I'll be curious, as the other teams are getting their military ones out there, and you've got the Hockey Fights Cancer and the other ones coming up. So those will be interesting to see. And I will say the design of the military ones this year, I thought looked really good. And you've seen them in person. I've just seen them in pictures.
Yep. They looked really good up close. A friend of ours did note that the collar was not as thick, as far as it's more of a narrow chain stitch. It's not as bulky as we've seen in the past with some of the game jerseys. And he made a good point to say, it's our friend Matt Moffat made a comment saying he wonders if that's going to be a wave of the future for the NHL jerseys. So that'll, when Fanatics continues to rebrand, it'll be interesting to see how that goes. I can't see them going to that thin just because of the pulling and pushing that happens on the necks of the jerseys. I could see them doing it for the warm-up, since those aren't necessarily worn in the game and they're a little different, closer to the practice style. But time will tell. So thanks for the information from everybody, and we'll continue to try to help the hobby.
And here, 1 second, we'll get some of the expo dates from you, Paul. But with Wade mentioning that, I'm actually going to pull that up here really quick, if I can get that zoomed in, just because we just mentioned it. So let me go over here, and we'll do a share screen. Yeah, you can see right there that very thin, like Wade said, that stitched neck there.
Yeah, it's definitely different than what we've seen on the game quality jerseys. So will be interesting to see if they somehow incorporate that. Excuse me, I can't talk, into game jerseys in the future. But it was a nice catch by Matt, and it was something that I was looking at. But again, the quality of the jersey and like some of the little features, like that patch on the shoulder, the St. Louis Blues with the number, and I mean, they really are pretty fantastic. The material was really nice on them. Again, getting my hand on it, they did a good job. Fun stuff.
Yeah, and the
crest.
Yeah, I was say camo, but I guess you could kind of call it that. And is that crest, again, I'm looking at a picture of it, is that crest as elevated as it looks?
Yeah, it's just like the ones. It looks like it's just like the ones that we've seen on the NHL style jerseys. They just have an extra element where they just look kind of
pops more.
It just pops more. And I can't say I necessarily know what they did, but I know the stitching on the other ones seemed that way as well. And this one's got a little bit more material build into it. But yeah, I definitely feel like they're doing a good job quality wise from what I've seen so far.
Yeah, that 3D logo I'm very impressed with. But yeah, these jerseys are very sharp, but good catch on that neck, because that's you look at the general thing of the jersey and the stuff like the neck you may not always notice till later.
Yeah.
But thanks, Matt, for reaching out and messaging about that. All right, Paul, you've got some dates.
Oh yes, expos. Well, this past weekend was the show in Detroit, and we've seen lots of photos of that on Facebook and elsewhere. It looks like it was a great show. Good attendance, as expected. And I cannot remember if we mentioned in the show earlier, on the same date was supposed to be the Colorado Expo, but they deferred that one to the spring to not conflict with the Detroit date. So we don't have the actual date for the Colorado show yet, but hopefully we'll have that for everyone soon. Upcoming, shockingly, we don't have anything until our show here in San Jose till February 1st. If I'm missing a show somewhere, please let us know. So February 1st, here at Calder's at Sharks Ice, all day expo, and then at night we have the Pink in the Rink game. We've rented a couple suites. We were just there this past weekend for Pucks and Paws, which was a fabulous time in a suite with a lot of dogs and even more humans. But
more teams need to do that.
Yeah, I like the dogs better.
Yeah, it's an AHL thing, though. I mean, an ECHL. It was always interesting when the San Jose Barracuda did the Pucks and Paws at SAP, because I mean, you have this massive arena which is very empty and just dogs running all over the place. It was great. But yes, it's the Barracuda actually do 2 Pucks and Paws games every year. So we have another one coming up. I believe it's in March, but
I love it.
I agree. We should have more of that. So if you're interested in the February Expo or the Pink in the Rink game that day, reach out to myself, Mitch, and we'll get you set up for that. Then on March 1st, there's the show in Southern Cal that Michael Ruhlhand hosts in Valencia. That he's sold out of tables right now, and I know at least Mitch and I are heading down there from here. Yes, yes. So that's in Valencia. New ones which are not on the list we track at Opert is Winnipeg is doing one on March 8th. That just came out earlier this week. So we will be adding that shortly. We already know about Nova on March 22nd, and those tables are sold out for that. And then the big one, at least for us, is the April 12th Frozen 4 one in St. Louis. Every week, I'm more and more optimistic that we might be seeing Michigan there. Now that I said it, I'll jinx it, but it's been a good couple weeks for them. They actually look good in October and November. So, but yeah, so Wade and I will work on getting more of the information out there for tables.
Yep.
And the last time we did this in Chicago, it was just absolutely incredible. The show over the Frozen 4 weekend.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. I spoke to them actually this week, to the lady that is the manager of that. Talked about, and I was going to get with you this week. I hadn't gotten a chance yet, Paul, but talking about a menu and some stuff. And I think we're planning on somewhere around 20 to 25 tables, give or take, is what we're going to be able to accommodate. And obviously it's a brewery and a distillery, so that should be fun for everybody as well. And they have some really nice food, and it's a really nice venue. And the fun part is, right in the front, a little baseball card store, sports card store, just opened up in the front of that building. So I'm actually working on getting with them to see if they'd want to stay involved with us as well, just to add a little bit of another niche to it. So should be a lot of fun. Looking forward to putting it together with you.
Yeah, no, should be a great show. And my understanding, since you mentioned baseball, is the St. Louis Cardinals have a couple home games that weekend.
They do. And, between the hockey and the baseball, it should be a fun weekend downtown. And Collinsville, just for anybody who's listening who hasn't been to St. Louis or doesn't know where my hometown is, we're about 15 minutes from downtown, from the event, 15 to 20 minutes from there, and about probably a little less than 25 minutes, give or take, to the airport. And it's a nice little area, tons of hotels and tons of restaurants and eateries and things to do. So
you can step out of the hotel in Collinsville and see the arch. That's how close we are.
Oh,
you
nice.
can. Yeah.
And since the expo is at a brewery / distillery, we will be Ubering to the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing that we have to do, Wade, because you mentioned the food and drink, is we need to start thinking of maybe some drink concoctions, or at least names for some of the drinks and food special for the expo, so we can have a real good time with all this stuff. So
we're gonna have a blast. I'm looking forward to it. And we're gonna have a nice time. So look forward to seeing some new faces. I think that's the one thing that I'm most excited about, is hopefully we can get some people in who are traveling in for the hockey or what have you, but can maybe get an eye on what we do and continue to grow both this one and the October one.
And again, even if you're a Codge collector or whatever, and you're going to come in for the game, but I don't want to lug all the jerseys. So what? Come to the expo anyway. You don't have to bring anything. Come hang out. Come meet people. You don't have to bring a damn thing. Just come out. And
you can also, here, and the other thing is, you're welcome. And I've done this in the past. You're welcome to mail me a box if you're comfortable with it, and we'll mail it back to you.
Or you sell it all and you don't have anything.
Or if you buy something and need to have it shipped back, I'm more than happy to help with that as well.
Well, yeah, and in some of our cases, you'd be shipping back 2 boxes.
Thank God the holiday rates will be over at that point.
Yeah, no
kidding. God, that's right.
So, a couple other things as of listening to this Friday morning. And again, not quite a gamer, but close. Utah, the authentic jerseys, actually any jerseys for Utah, become available Friday, November 15th to buy. Utah was hyping it all over all their social media. Of course, it is just the darks. The whites are not available for anybody as of yet. Yeah. But those do go on sale. Paul found a good one today and sent it to us just before the show started. Did somebody tip you off to this, or did you just stumble across it?
If you're talking about the Kraken, someone was asking about it in the main group. Since my grade no longer have Seattle in their sales, someone was asking how are they doing their game worn sales. And Doc, go right ahead.
Well, at SeattleHockeyTeamStore.com, the very last menu option, they have Kraken Authentics. They currently just have warm-up pucks. Looks like some different goal pucks out here from away teams. And wow, I'm a little surprised that I hadn't scrolled through this yet. One of them dated 9/22/24, game used puck out of play third period. So it wasn't caught by the crowd or anything, but it went out of play and they documented it that way.
Wow.
Hey, there's a Martin Firk one out here. I forgot he's still playing with Calgary Flames that are 125. They're out. They must have a lot of issues with pucks going out of play that nobody gets, because there's another one that those are 85. The warm-up pucks are $60. Jesus.
Maybe the out of play just means it was removed by the officials.
You know what? Let's see if
I don't know.
I go in and look at the description, it gives me any more. Official puck from Seattle Kraken against Calgary Flames, October 19th, 2024. This puck went out of play in the second period. All sales final. They have, this is kind of interesting too. I think it's ugly for what's on the front of it, but they have brown and black jersey frames you can buy right from them. But at the bottom center, it says Kraken Authentics on it. That only does you good if you're putting a Kraken jersey in that, but good for them. The only jersey related things they have out here right now are Adidas team issue blanks, both home and road at $4.25. When we were talking about this before we started recording, to me, and again, seeing as many other teams that have dumped theirs, be it the Blues, be it New York, be it all these other, and I understand the Fanatics ones are this price, but as Adidas ones that are the on the way out, as it were, I think $4.25 is a little ridiculous. But we'll see if I may be totally wrong and they sell out tomorrow.
Yeah,
and we had my gut feeling is Seattle doesn't want to undercut their Fanatics market, because they'll be selling those jerseys too, as made in Canada. And I think they're about the same price for.
Yes. Yeah, per the Pro Authentics, I think we're $4.25 or $4.50. So you're right there.
Yeah, because I mean they probably just don't want to undercut that, because if you look into the listings, you can't tell how many they have, but they have a lot of sizes. And in white, they actually have the ever popular size 52, which
that's rare.
Yeah, no one ever seems to find that. They have 52, 54, 56, 58, 60. And then 58 and 60 in goalie cuts. So it's large size things. And then on the dark ones, they do not have the size 52 left. Those are gone.
Very cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's something to keep an eye on, to see what else shows up out there when. I'm going to try and reach out to Seattle to see if I can get somebody come on from there and maybe talk about what their plans are, if there's a time frame with more of this stuff. So we'll try and reach out tomorrow and see if I can get hooked up with somebody and try and get them on a future show. But good catch, and I hadn't seen the group was doing some other stuff and some other show prep, so good catch on that as well. The other interesting piece that blew up overnight into this morning in the game worn world would be the Red Wings, Paul's team there. I'll let you, since it's your team, Paul, I'll let you take this one.
Yeah, yesterday, Red Wings are starting a road trip. Played yesterday in Pittsburgh, and now they're coming out to the West Coast. So Monica and I are thrilled. We have a number of games out here in California. But on the game in Pittsburgh, and you can see it on the video that the Red Wings posted when the team's coming out on the ice, Jeff Petrie is wearing an Adidas jersey. The dimples are clear as day. The Adidas logo on the back is there, not covered up or anything. And as far as I could tell, he wore it throughout the whole game, which would kind of make sense if he started with an Adidas one. I mean, there had to be a reason. But I thought it's not a secret. I'm not a fan of the Fanatics. Well, anything, to put it nicely. And it was kind of nice seeing the Adidas jersey out there. We've seen this happen many times in the past, in like, college or ECHL games where a jersey doesn't match, it has a different manufacturer. I don't remember too many instances of it in the NHL, but we'll see if Jeff is still wearing that jersey on tomorrow night when they're in Anaheim. So.
Yeah.
And it's, I mean, again, we've gone over a lot before the show, and other collectors have seen had to switch out something with a jersey for whatever reason. And Paul, you mentioned under Reebok when they switched the logos on them, a lot of times they just sewed the patch over it, which made sense. Same manufacturer, just we need to change this one piece. And we've seen the one where it was a store jersey because of an emergency situation. My only thought, or maybe it was a miss, or they just didn't really care, was the fact that Adidas logo was not covered up.
Yeah.
Because it's my thinking, and again, I may be wrong. And if somebody knows call it the NHL rules for this kind of stuff or how this is supposed to work, my thinking would be is that would have to be covered up, because Fanatics is who's paying to have their name out there.
My guess is it had to have been something, again, it's all speculation on our part, but, the guess would have to be that either there was a problem with his jersey before they left, maybe it needed a repair, maybe who knows, and that was what they had, and they put something together to get him on the ice. The big tell will be whether or not he's wearing it again, in Anaheim. That'll probably be the big tell for me, as far as what happened.
And we are working on some insiders to try and see if we can get a story of what's actually happened, get it right from somebody in the know. Let's hope that works out. If not, the story will come out eventually somewhere, but we are trying to secure that information.
Yeah.
It will also be interesting if he is wearing it tomorrow in Anaheim, if they do cover up Adidas.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you can obviously tell it's not a Fanatics jersey.
Right.
The dimples.
Yeah, the dimples kind of give it away. And we've talked about that when we were first looking at the Fanatics game jerseys and that. And Wade had me share the pictures from the Blues fan event. And I mean, they're just introduced a handful of guys up on stage wearing those jerseys, but they covered up the logos even for that. And I mean, that's at that point when the puck's not even really dropped for even the preseason, but you're doing that. That's somebody that's thinking ahead, and that tells me that there's some kind of rule or somewhere in place that's what should happen. But again, maybe it's oops, sorry, we screwed up. We promised not to do it again, and we just don't know what those inside rules like that are.
No one's going to notice. I mean, why bother covering it up?
Right. But now that'll be the jersey that a lot of the Red Wings collectors probably want to chase.
Oh, it's definitely one I want.
I mean, you know how easy of a photo match that's going to be. Oh, look, it's a Adidas jersey with all these Fanatics ones.
So I can still then continue not having to have a Fanatics jersey in my collection.
The big question is going to be is the set tag in it. I mean, obviously, the Detroit only does, as you're the collector, but we all know they only do 2 sets a year, right? And
these days, yes.
What's that?
These days, some years they only did 1 set in a playoff set.
Yeah. So, I mean, at the end of the day, like maybe they just ordered limited jerseys and who knows, but obviously that jersey probably, unless they had to do it and somehow put a set stamp in it, it probably would have to have a last year set stamp or no set stamp at all, and something handwritten in it would be, if they did something to mark its use. A lot of interesting questions there.
As far as I know, all the Petrie game worn jerseys sold. We did pick up the white game issued one, which was for the playoffs. So unless there was another one of those floating up, but it didn't make it to the sale, Red Wing sale. So
and refresh my memory, Paul, in the preseason or training camp, they wore all the Fanatic stuff too. There was no Adidas in there that we know of.
Yes, because they ended up selling all the old Adidas preseason jerseys, and The Red Wings will wear preseason jerseys multiple seasons, and they'll keep changing the name bars on them. So as long as they didn't mutilate the name bar when changing them, you will get the name bars that were removed when you purchase it. So all the Adidas ones went up for sale at this past equipment sale.
Okay.
If I remember right, there were like 6 or 7 racks of jerseys there. I mean, it was insane what they offered. And what they did wear in the preseason was Fanatics with the straight name bars, not the arch name bars.
Okay.
Arch.
So
And preseason has nameplates actually where the numbers were put on a different piece of fabric sewn on.
so normal procedure, what the Wings have always done.
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, and we know we've seen many teams still end up at their stores or ended up online somewhere, all these blank Adidas ones. So I'm guessing there's still some floating around in locker rooms for one reason or another. But yeah, if we get that story, if and when we get that story, that will definitely be talked about on here, and or we'll share it through our Facebook page and stuff. So you don't have to wait if we get it soon, don't have to wait for next show. Because we want to get that out there.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, really it of the gaming stuff I'm aware of, and kind of looking around the hobby and the leagues and different things like that. The Penn State did kind of show off theirs today as a college. That's a gorgeous jersey. Yeah. The PWHL did theirs last week, and I will say I'm really impressed with those. I have seen through some of the Reddit groups that I follow, those you can now buy those, and people were getting them and thought they looked really good in person. So definitely support that. I think that those jerseys look really sharp.
I sent you that we sent a Notre Dame jersey, college jersey again today too, which was pretty phenomenal as well. But that one went in our group chat. So there's been it seems like everybody's really stepping up their game. You know, recently there's been some really neat stuff coming out. I guess the biggest thing now I'm hopeful for and waiting for is to see what the Winter Classic jerseys are going to look like for Chicago and St. Louis. And as always, I hope that they do something way better than what they did last year with the NHL All-Star jerseys, because those were maybe the worst ones I've seen in a long time.
I don't disagree. We're only 47 days till New Year's Eve, which is the game this year, not New Year's Day.
Yeah.
And we've not seen leaks or rumors or anything.
Oh.
And that's a little interesting. I mean, and of course, true though, the Hawks haven't officially said that jersey, the one that we've seen leaked, is theirs, if I remember correctly. Oh. So there's got to be something coming soon. And maybe, let me look at the Blues schedule really quick. Are we playing the Blues and Hawks sometime soon before then? Because I wonder if they would do like a joint
drop.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
But it's interesting with only 47 days before the game, and we don't know what they look like at all.
No, not even a hint. Like in the last couple of years, they've either messed up and dropped a hat, or something like that has gotten released. Whether so you had an idea like a hat or a hoodie or whatever.
Right.
And I haven't seen anything.
The answer is no. The only time we played Chicago between now and the game is that game. There's no other Chicago dates. So
interesting.
We'll keep an eye. I mean, we've asked sources and other things, and I've checked with a few other people, and there's nothing. Nobody seems to know. They're keeping it for both teams to keep it that close to the vest is really interesting.
It's exciting. I mean, excited to see what they look like.
But it also makes me wonder too if there will be fan ones available, because if Utah just got theirs now, but we did know a year ago ish that the Chicago Blues game was going to happen, so you'd think that design was mocked up or whatever, and Fanatics could be on top of it.
I'm hoping for something fun.
Yes. All right, Paul, any final thoughts from you?
Just wanted to revisit the couple new college jerseys that you mentioned here. Yeah. The Notre Dame one is really interesting. It's a interesting design. I'll reserve judgment if it's good looking or not. But that is for a tournament in Belfast, Northern Ireland, where I was just checking this right now. They're going to be playing Harvard, on November 29th, so couple weeks. And then after that, they'll play either Merrimack or Boston University. And I have not seen if either of those teams are coming out with any special jerseys for this trip either. But I'm assuming the Notre Dame jersey is just for that trip, is what I've heard, but who knows?
Sure. And just to preface it, it says Irish across the front. It's a navy jersey, and the Irish is gold, like real gold. And then just for people, it has a pretty neat shoulder logo with 2 hockey sticks crossed and the Notre Dame logo. And then the back jersey numbers have like the Gaelic style weaving, like the Gaelic weaving inside the numbers, and they're gold as well. So it's a really pretty jersey. I know that you're probably reserving judgment. From what I can see in the pictures, I really liked it. And then Penn State's is based off of their 1940s style jerseys that they wore. And those looked really neat too.
Well, not only that, it's a whole uniform for Penn State.
Yeah,
it's
brown,
the
pants.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, there's the Notre Dame one there, and
you can see the Gaelic chain stitching across the style across the front, the sleeves, and then the back numbers have that same thing built into the gold. So pretty neat. I mean,
that is very, very. It's cool, but not overdone, because you could have overdone the crap out of it, and that's subtle and well done, and you don't, like I say, you don't always have to go nuts with.
Especially since they're going over there to put the Gaelic style stuff, makes it kind of, to me, that's a neat tie-in. And I don't know if did you have the picture? You have the picture of
the Penn State. I am pulling it up right now. Give me 1 second. And
I have not enough about the Penn State jerseys yet, and I wish we had Justin on the show tonight because he's our resident Penn State grad and expert. But I don't know if these are for the outdoor game, in Chicago, when they're doing the 3 Big Ten games there, or if they're going to be wearing these multiple times during the season. It's it's a cool throwback design.
And the fact that they're doing the pants, they're doing it top to bottom. When you do such a marked change like that, doing everything really brings it together.
I really like.
I agree.
It's a great looking jersey, and the goalie gear on that looks phenomenal. By the way,
that heritage goalie stuff is their new throwback alternative jerseys. Trying to retro look at pants and
the whole thing.
That's going to be their new. That's going to be their new thing. Is their new alternate jersey or alternate setup period? Alternate uniforms will enter the jersey lineup as a true alternate to be worn multiple times throughout the next few seasons.
Oh, very cool.
For Penn State.
I'm actually watching I always am watching, in case everybody doesn't know, usually if we're recording the Blues are on or there's hockey on, I'm watching. You might be able to see it in my glasses. I'm not sure. But Devin Levy, the goalie for Buffalo, is actually wearing a kit like that. He's wearing like the brown goalie kit tonight. And I just love when goalies do that. I just think it looks so good. It's just so kind of classic and vintage. I'm just a huge fan of that.
Well, and you look at some of the ways some of the other goalies will do their stuff, and you can get what they call the waffle blocker, those old goalie blockers that had the holes in them. Goalies will do that because that retro became so popular, and it does. It brings so many cool designs together with doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. Did he score? Sorry.
No, you're good. I'd like to see the Blues win a game.
Yeah, we're tied. There's 4 minutes left. We're tied, and Kyrie just missed
and it's Buffalo for crying out loud. Paul, have you got anything else?
No, just looking forward to the Red Wings being out here on the West Coast, and then the following weekend we have, which we haven't talked about on the show yet, the Joe Thornton retirement game.
Oh yeah.
That should be a lot of fun against Buffalo. I don't know what sort of patch they're gonna. I assume there's gonna be patch jerseys. There's a Legends game at Tech CU the night before. Those jerseys will probably be up for sale shortly after. And we know Mitch will be there for the whole thing, and just looking forward to it. Should be a fun weekend.
Oh, sounds like. Are you going to the game the night before?
No, I'm gonna pass on that. I'm not too. I don't really care too much about the older type games or all-star games for the most part, and it's the tickets sold really quickly, and I'd rather someone else who cares gets to go than us. So we will stay home with Maze and just have a great evening.
Hey, there you go. Wade, what else you got before we get out of here?
Another great show. I apologize for missing, the show that will air after this show.
That was all my fault, was scheduling and getting people confused, because anybody goes to watch, it's just me doing the interview, but it was more of things popped up. I initially thought it was the week before, and it got all kind of messed up. So I just confused everybody. It's 100% on me.
Well, the best part about that for me is I get to be excited like everybody else for the show this time. So I'm actually excited to see it and hear it. And then look forward, you just said how nice good of a show it is. I'm looking forward to being a viewer for once, and then in taking the product, and then hopefully bringing the girls back on again for another discussion, because you said it was really good, and I can't wait to hear it.
Coming on next week, and I didn't mention the names at the top of the show, is Megan Cole and Devin Cook. They both are at the Wings games all the time, but they collect individual players that aren't. Devin's player is on the Wings, and Alex Lyon, and Megan collects a couple. But they even went to a podcast studio a friend of theirs has in Detroit, set up a bunch of stuff behind them. It was just an awesome conversation. And a cool part about this, their story and how much we plug in general with the expos and other things, is the friendships you build. And you'll listen to the show next week and think that they've been friends since growing up. And we talk about that. They've been friends for less than a year.
Yeah.
And collecting, and the Red Wings brought them together, and it's so awesome. We had just a great conversation, and kind of went all over the place, and hearing stories, and they're camping out for the Red Wings sale because they were first and second in line, and all this kind of stuff. It was just so cool to hear. So I'm traveling as of Saturday, be gone all week, so we wanted to make sure that nobody missed out, and thanks to them for coming on, and we will definitely have them on again. But getting back to the wrapping up this show, please continue to like, subscribe, comment across things. I actually even saw I get a comment today, which is rare, popped up on Spotify. Usually I get them through YouTube. So comment, like, wherever. I do track all that and try to comment back or do the heart or whatever it is. So we appreciate all that and all the support. Again, if you want to come on, be a guest, please reach out to one of us. We can definitely work on scheduling. I know with the holidays, things will get weird. We can do some alternate nights, things like that. So again, thank you. Enjoy the show. Enjoy the weekend and some hockey. We'll see you back here real soon.